චාමි දුතියම්පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි තතියම්පි බුද්ධං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි තතියම්පි ධම්මං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි තතියම්පි සංඝං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි පානාති පාතා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි අදින්නාදානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි කාමේසු මිච්ඡාචාරා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි මුසාවාදා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි සුරාමේරය මජ්ජපමා දට්ඨානා වේරමණී සික්ඛාපදං සමාදියාමි තිසරණේන සද්ධින් පංචශීලං ධම්මං සාදුකං සුරක්ඛිතං කତ୍වා අප්පමාදේන සම්පාදේ තබ්බං. So we are going to worship the Buddha. Let us worship together, reciting the stanzas with me. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතු සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විජ්ජාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරථි සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති බුද්ධං ජීවිත පරියන්තං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි යේච බුද්ධා අතීතා ච යේච බුද්ධා අනාගතා පච්චුප්පන්නා ච යේ බුද්ධා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ති මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං බුද්ධෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං පාදපං සවරුත්තමං බුද්ධේයෝ කාලිතෝ දෝසෝ බුද්ධෝ කමතු තං මමං ස්වාක්ඛාතෝ භගවතා ධම්මෝ සන්දෙට්ඨිකෝ අකාලිකෝ ඒහි පස්සිකෝ ඕපනයිකෝ පච්චත්තං වේදිතම්බෝ විඤ්ඤුහිති ධම්මං ජීවිත පරියන්තං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි යේච ධම්මා අතීතා ච යේච ධම්මා අනාගතා පච්චප්පන්නා ච යේ ධම්මා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ථි මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං ධම්මෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං ධම්මං ච ත්‍රිවිධං වරං ධම්මේයෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ ධම්මෝ කමතු තං මමං සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ උජුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ ඥායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචිපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ යදිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨ පුරිස පුග්ගලා ඒස භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනේයෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං ලෝකස්සාති සංඝං ජීවිත පරියන්තං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි යේච සංඝා අතීතා ච යේච සංඝා අනාගතා පච්චප්පන්නා ච යේ සංඝා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ථි මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං සංඝෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු මේ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං සංඝං ච ත්‍රිවිධෝත්තමං සංඝේයෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ සංඝෝ කමතු තං මමං කනසාරප්පදිත්තේන දීපේන තමදං සිනා තිලෝක දීපං සම්බුද්ධං පූජයාමි තමෝනුදං වන්නගන්ධ ගුණෝපේතං ඒතං කුසුම සන්තතින් පූජයාමි මුනින්දස්ස සිරිපාද සරෝරුහේ පූජේමි බුද්ධං කුසුමේන නේන පුඤ්ඤේන මේතේන ච හෝතු මොක්ඛං පුප්පං මිලායාති යතයි ධම්මේ කායෝ තථායාති විනාශ භාවං අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ පානීයං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ ගිලාන පච්චයං ඉමං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම අධිවාසේතුනෝ භන්තේ සබ්බං සද්ධාය පූජිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තම Vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbethani supatititang Saririka dhatu mahabodhing buddha rupang sakalang sada Yassa mule nisinno ve sabbari vijayang aka Patto sabbanyutang sattha vande tang bodhipadapang Ime ete mahabodhi lokanatena pujita Ahampi namassami bodhiraja namattute Kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang kamami bhante bhuri panye tathagate Kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang kamami dhamme sanditthika akalika Kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang Acchayang kamami sangha supatipanna anuttara Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang Sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Idam me ñātenang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo Idam me ñātenang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo Idam me ñātenang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya Idam me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu Sabba dukkha pamuncatu Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu So if you have just joined us, that is the end of our Buddha Puja. We go live every day at 7 o'clock sharing our religious worship, Buddha Vandana, with you so that you can participate from home or maybe at work to listen to some chanting. So it is important that at least once a day we engage in some religious activity for our peace of mind, happiness. Also it is important to listen to chanting. Sometimes you might want to dedicate to someone who is affected by an illness or something, especially during this time of difficulty. So as always, we dedicate the chanting for your well-being. So the Ratana Sutta, a very powerful sutta uttered by the Buddha out of great compassion, and his great compassion are within the words of those verses in the Ratana Sutta. When we chant, we believe that you will be blessed with the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Especially during this time of difficulty, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May you stay blessed. May you stay protected. May it be conducive for your good health and happiness. So may the blessings of the Buddha be upon you. And if you know or if you are ill or you know someone who is ill, bear them in your thoughts, your loved ones. Bear them in your thoughts, wishing them speedy recovery and happiness, especially enjoy good health thereafter. Today we also dedicate this to Mrs. P.S. Sabhanathan, who is going for a treatment in hospital tomorrow. May you have a very successful treatment and may you enjoy good health and happiness after that. As always, may all the key workers, including NHS staff, doctors and nurses, enjoy good health and happiness. May they have the courage and determination to continue the valuable services to the nation, to the patients and their families as well. So with such kind intention and aspirations, we begin our chanting of Ratana Sutta. Please listen to the chanting with great attention and respect. Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gacchantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajassa Sunantu Saggamukkhadang Paritta Savanakalu Ayang Bhadanta Paritta Savanakalu Ayang Bhadanta Paritta Dhamma Savanakalu Ayang Bhadanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Yani Bhutani Samagatani Bhummani Vayani Vayantalikhe Sambeva Bhuta Sumana Bhavantu Atopi Sakkacca Sunantu Bhasitang Tasmahi Bhutani Samita Sabbe Mettang Karota Manusiya Pajaye Divacharatto Chaharanti E Baling Tasmahi Nirakkata Appamatta Yang kinci vittang idhvahurang vasagge suvayang ratanang panitang Nano samang atthitathagatena idampi buddhe ratanang panitang Etena saccena suvattiyotu Khayang viragang amatang panitang yadajjaga sakya muni samahito Natena dhammena samatti kinci idampi dhamme ratanang panitang Etena saccena suvattiyotu Yang buddha setto parivannai sucing samadhimanantarikanyamahu Samadhinatena samona vijjati idampi dhamme ratanang panitang Etena saccena suvattiyotu Ye puggala atta satang pasattha cattari etani yugani honti Te dakhineya sugatassa savaka ete sudinnani mahappalani Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu Ye suppayutta manasa dalhene nikamino gotama sasanamhi Te patti patta amatang vigaihe laddha mudha nibbuting bunjamana Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu Yatinda kila pathaving sito siya chatubhivati bhiya sampekampiyo Tathupamang sappuri sangvadami yo arya saccani avecce passati Idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu Ye arya saccani vibhavayanti gambhira panyena sudesitani Kincapi te honti busappamatta nate bhavang attamang adiyanti idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu sahavassa dassana sampadaya tayassu dhamma jahita bhavanti sakkaya ditthi vicikiccitanca silabbataṃ vāpi yadatti kinci Catuha paye ca vippamutto ca cabithanani abhabbo kātum idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvatti hotu kincapi so kammang karoti papakang kayena vaca udcetasava abhabbo so tassa paticchādāya abhabbata diṭṭha padassa vutta idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu vanappa gumbe yatā pussitagge gimhānamāse patamasmiṃ gimhe Tatupamang dhamma varang adesai nibbānagāmiṃ paramang hitāya idampi buddhe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu varo varanyo varado varāharo anuttaro dhamma varang adesai idampi buddhe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu khinang puranang navang natti sambhavang viratta citta ayatike bhavasmiṃ te khina bija avirullhiccanda nibbanti dhīrāyatājang padīpo idampi sanghe ratanang panitang etena saccena suvattiyotu yani dabhutani samāgatani bummāni vāyani vayantalikhe tathāgatang deva manussa pūjitang buddhaṃ namassāma suvattiyotu yani dabhutani samāgatani bummāni vāyani vayantalikhe tathāgatang deva manussa pūjitang dhammaṃ namassāma suvattiyotu yani dabhutani samāgatani bummāni vāyani vayantalikhe tathāgatang deva manussa pūjitang saṅgham namassāma suvattiyotu etena sacca vajjena dukkha upasamintu te etena sacca vajjena bhaya upasamintu te etena sacca vajjena roga upasamintu te sabba buddhānubhāvena sabba dhammānubhāvena sabba saṅghānubhāvena buddha ratanang dhamma ratanang saṅgha ratanang tinnang ratanānaṃ anubhāvena caturāsīti sahassa dhammakkhandhānubhāvena pitakattayānubhāvena Jinasāvakānubhāvena sabbete roga sabbete bhaya sambete antarāya sambete upaddava sambete dunnimittā sambete avamangala vinassantu ආයු වඩ්ඩකෝ ධන වඩ්ඩකෝ සිරි වඩ්ඩකෝ යස වඩ්ඩකෝ බල වඩ්ඩකෝ වන්න වඩ්ඩකෝ සුඛ වඩ්ඩකෝ හෝතු සබ්බදා දුක්ඛ රෝග භය වේරා සෝකා සබ්බේ පද්දවා අනේකා අන්තරායාපි විනස්සන්තු ච තේජසා ජය සිද්ධි ධනං ලාභං සොත්ති භාග්‍යං සුඛං බලං සිරියායුච වන්නෝ ච භෝගං බුද්ධි ච යසවා Satavassa cha ayu cha jiva siddhi bhavantu te. Akasattha cha bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu lokasasanang. Akasattha cha bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu dhamma desanang. Akasattha cha bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang paranti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so that is the end of our chanting. And if you have just joined us, we go live every day at 7 o'clock sharing our evening Buddha Puja and chanting. Especially during this time of difficulty, lockdown restriction times and pandemic times. May you stay safe, may you be protected, and also may you be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem for your well-being. If you are affected, may you have a speedy recovery, and may you have courage and determination to continue to face the difficult times. So with that kind and righteous intention, we chanted the Ratana Sutta today for your complete well-being and speedy recovery. So we also would like to dedicate this to all our key workers, wishing them good health and happiness. And you as an online community, mostly, may you stay safe and may you be blessed by the Noble Triple Gem. So we say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So now we will do our weekly meditation on mindfulness. So every Thursday we discuss a little bit about mindfulness and some strategies taught in Buddhism, and we share that so that you can practice as an online community. So especially during this time of difficulty, as we've been discussing in the last few weeks, as soon as we close our eyes, the tendency is that we tend to get involved with many things. Most importantly, sometimes the memories that might come, because as soon as your eyes or the active sense might be closed, so there is a tendency that your mind gets involved with something. So it is either getting involved with your previous or past thoughts, sometimes also deeply rooted thoughts, or sometimes the future, you're planning, or even getting involved with the resulting worries and anxiety, for example. So your mind is very active, and the more active it is, the more we realize how the mind and the body is connected. So your breathing patterns, and also the way you sigh, huff and puff, those are some signs of perhaps the resulting from anxiety or worry or stress, you call it sometimes. So those are the signs of some difficulty. So meditation or developing mindfulness, as we discussed last few weeks, is about learning how to be present in the present moment. It's not the breathing, but it is about realizing where the mind is at the given moment and noticing the presence of it. So we do use breathing as an object, and it's not the breath, it's the presence in the breathing. So you see the breath rising and falling. So if you maybe put your hand in your tummy, you can, when you breathe in, you see the tummy rise and tummy fall. Or if you imagine the breath going in, so if you are with the breath, you are with the breath. The beauty with this is quite interesting, because there's nothing to like or dislike in the breath. So we don't have any opinions. When some people say about, say, maybe stress management or some other activities they might engage to distract or to actually free themselves from things, the mind is not resting though still. You might go to a gym and you still develop opinions or form opinions, or your target-wise is different. So there is an expectation, there is opinion-based, prejudged, or even formation of opinions in the gym that you go to. I'm not saying gym is bad, but what I'm saying is it is not giving the mind a bit of a rest. So we do certain things, but the mind is still very active. Now it is this mind that we try to work with. So the more active the mind is, the more mind is also doing like an exercise. So you need to give mind a bit of a rest. So when we say stilling the mind in terms of concentration at one point in this, you are trying to make the mind stop thinking for a while, or just actually let the mind be in one point. So when you are running from here and there like a monkey jumping from branch to branch, your mind seems very active, and you start draining your energy as well. And given that time in the meditation or mindfulness meditation, we train the mind so that it does not go into objects that it really wants to. So we are not feeding or entertaining the mind, but we are training the mind to be at one point and also to be mindful. So when it is mindfulness, it is about noticing at the given moment what the mind is doing. Then only the purpose of mindfulness becomes clear, because it is in the Satipatthana we say we establish mindfulness. Patthana, you are establishing or applying mindfulness. So when we do that, if the mind is wandering, that also becomes an object. So realizing mind is not wandering, or realizing mind is wandering, is also an object that we can think about. So that doesn't mean we actually stay in the wandering zone, but it is about retrieving and coming back to the breathing. So you are training the mind to be in one point, as well as be learning how to develop mindfulness. So sating pacchupattita hoti yavadeva jnanamattaya patti sati mattaya. So jnanamattaya is to do with learning, or to do with being able to see things clearly. So it supports the sampajanya, or seeing. It's not just about identifying, but it is seeing in clarity. So seeing things differently. So when we say seeing things in clarity, means seeing things in its way, or as it is. Not the way you want to see it. Most of us try to see the way you want to see things. And as we've been discussing in the past, your likes will filter the objects, your opinions will filter the objects, your understanding will filter the objects, your preconceived notion, preconceived ideas. I remember giving an example. Even sometimes some people, when they talk to someone, they already know what the person is, or who the person is, and what the person might say, and will start actually talk to the person. And that is, we are habitually doing those things. When we see something like flowers, we already have an opinion of the flower before we actually let the flower speak its beauty, or let the flower be on its own. So when it is about this sampajanya, it's about to actually see it clearly as it is something that it helps us, the mindfulness helps us to do. So mindfulness helps us to actually develop that skill. Jnanamatta, as it is, or to develop, to understand things clearly. So that's why lots of people are used with this word vidassana or vipassana. To see things clearly, in order to understand things clearly, you have to establish the moment at the moment what it is doing. So therefore, it is not about your knowledge, but it is about the receiving or seeing the object. So therefore, when we say sati pachupattita hoti, so when you apply or establish mindfulness, then only you can actually be with the object. So awareness helps you to be with the object, whereas most of the times our habitual pattern is to impose your opinion, impose your filtering processes to the object. So we are not being with the object, we are trying to make it or take it the way you want to see it. And therefore, when we do certain other relaxation therapies as well, what I'm trying to, I'm not actually against or talking against those, but if you can actually switch off. So when we actually go to a gym to thinking to switch off, are we actually developing more thoughts? Are we actually calculating more things, or are we actually doing certain things? When we look at sometimes some people switch off with sound therapies or other types of therapies, but it does not make the mind sort of stop. It doesn't make the mind stop. They are really good ideas. So when you listen to music, the same thing. So when you listen to music, people do enjoy listening to music, but the mind is not being able to switch off sometimes, because it is forming opinions. It is maybe switching channels, or switching or skipping your tracks, or it is actually maybe making you to go into a different journey. So the mind the mind doesn't get settled down. The mind actually sometimes needs settling down, and therefore the breathing, because it is physically related to your mind as well. When the breath, there's a link between your breath and the mind. So when you are really stressed, you can see how your breath works. When you're really agitated, you can see how your breath works. When you're really angry, you can see how your breath works. And sometimes huffing, puffing, sighing are signs of the way the mind is at the moment. So in the mindfulness session, or in the mindfulness understanding, is about trying to be with the object and trying to understand it as it is, not the way you want to see it. So if you are trying to apply your understanding, apply your knowledge, your preconceived judgment or opinions, then that is not mindfulness. That is, you are creating something, you are applying something to the object that you are encountering with. So to establish mindfulness means to actually be with the object in the present moment. If your mind was wandering, if you are able to understand that this is a wandering mind, then we note it. Wandering mind, angry mind, frustrated mind. Or you can also think, you can also notice that the mind, notice on the sensation where the mind is. So if the mind actually felt your body itching, then you note that as the itching body. So your mind went into the itchiness. After a few moments, that itchiness is gone. Then you need to you went into memory pattern, or that itchiness is not there anymore. Then you notice the absence of it. So it's quite easy, and the more we practice this, the more it becomes a habitual pattern to actually develop mindfulness, to be with it. So jnanamatta is, in order to actually understand the clarity or understand the object with clarity, sati sampajanya, we need to establish mindfulness as mindfulness, not the way you want to see it. So just being aware, bare attention, just complete attention. So you just pay attention to what is happening at the given moment, or you actually just notice as it happens. So jnanamatta is to comprehend things through that establishment. So for example, as I said about the itching business, so if your attention, as last week we said that if you have a itchy moment in your part of the body, and you can then notice that itchiness. So when you are being with the itchiness, you see what the itchiness is doing, or what it can do. Or you might even notice some sort of sensation that is arising and falling. You might also notice that when you are paying attention to that itchiness, the way your mind is wanting to react. Then at that given moment, the mind is in the mind. So the mindfulness needs to be in the mind, the way your mind is reacting. You want to itch, you want to scratch, you want to move your hand, you feel the urge to actually move, but then you all again start thinking, I'm not going to move. And all of them is where the mind is working. So at that moment, it is in the mind. Mind is in the mind. Mind is in the itchiness. Mind is in the body, or mind is in the seeing the rising and falling of. So there are 4 ways we can establish mindfulness, because bare attention is to establish mindfulness. Sati patthana, applying or establishing mind where at the given moment where the mind is going. So we know that it moves or goes to 6 channels, and we need to be aware what channel the mind is at the given moment. Where is the mind present? Is it in the seeing? Is it in the feeling? Is it in the sensation? Is it in the hearing? Is it in the tasting? Is it in the smelling? And this is different to concentration and one-pointedness. So we don't have to worry and think, I don't want to meditate because I can't stay still. Your mind doesn't stay still, so it's okay. Because mindfulness is understanding how the mind works and learning how to slowly, gradually focus whilst you're trying to actually develop the mindfulness skills. And you know the 3 skills I tell you. Recognize, release, return. Notice where the mind is. Return, let it go. Don't get involved with it. Let it go. Come back to breathing. Recognize, release, return. If you're a new person in meditation, you can pinpoint your breath into 3 stages: the start, the continuity, and then end. So 1, 2, 3. Again, the start of exhaling, 3, 2, 1. So that might help you to be with the breathing, because the breath does not make you want to do things differently. You just breathe. There's nothing to like in breath. So breath is a very good meditation object to start off with. But should your mind wander, should your mind engage with something, learn how to notice it quickly as it happens, quickly. Don't stay there, don't get involved with it. Let it go. So free yourself, come back to breathing again, home to your breath. So recognize, release, return. Okay? So essentially what I said was, mindfulness is about learning how to be, or learning how to know where your mind is. So it is in the presence. So where is your mind now? Noticing that is mindfulness. So establishing mindfulness can be in a couple of ways: in the body, in the sensation, in the mind or thoughts, in the nature of the change, for example. So 4 ways. So wherever mind is, learn how to notice that's there. Don't get involved with it, but learn how to return. When you actually keep on practicing this, then we will start seeing things clearly, because most of the time our response is because of our habitual looking pattern that actually that we apply. So we are learning how to just bear attention, just keep paying attention to what's happening, rather than telling or knowing what is happening. So we just pay attention to what is happening. So in the exercise, give the mind a job. What is the job you're going to give the mind? Look at the breath. That's all you're doing. Should your mind travel, do things, notice what it's doing, come back to your home. That is the breath. Okay? So adjust your seat for a while. So once you have adjusted your body, or which is to keep your body balanced. Sit straight, so your back has to be straight. Move a bit forward so that you're not leaning your back. And always your right hand on your left palm where possible. If you can't sit straight because of certain physical difficulty, it's okay, you can rest. But don't rest as such that you might fall asleep. So once you've determined your posture, so what you need to do is just be mindful of the way your body is posed at the moment. So that you can do by a quick scan. So notice the way your body is straight and upright, head balanced, so that uprightness is there. And as you scan down, you can see it's bent at the hips, and it's either positioned or sat on a chair or a cushion, so perhaps you might notice the pressure, the touch of your body on the chair or sofa or floor. Bent at the knees, and feet firm on the floor, or even your ankles touching if you are sitting cross-legged. So you might notice the pressure points. It simply is very peaceful. Do notice that the body is quite different than other times. Your body is still. Be mindful of that stillness. And most of the time, that stillness is because your mind is settled as well, or your mind has been free from other things. So there is no rush, there is complete peace. And also a quick scan around with your family members, perhaps sitting with you. Notice their presence, noticing their calmness, stillness around with the environment or the layout of your room. So be mindful of the things that are there. Coming back to yourself, noticing the absence of restlessness in your body and mind. That peaceful mind, as I said earlier, let's give it a job to do. Bringing your attention to your breath. Let it observe the in-breath and out-breath. Breathing in and breathing out. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Just stay with that breath. You can visualize the journey of the breath to be with the breath. And release as you breathe in. Just take the journey with the breath. When you are with the breath, you notice that it's a long breath or a short breath. Long in breath, short in breath. Remember to come back. Don't get involved in your thoughts or your wandering mind. Just realize and recognize what the mind is doing. Let it go. Come back to breathing. was a fruitful session for you. Do take the skill of the 3 R's, recognizing, releasing, and returning to your breathing. Recognizing the object, not getting involved, but letting it go, and then coming back to your own breath. So practicing about a couple of minutes, about 10 to 15 minutes a day, which brings a great refreshment to the mind. Mind just not revitalizes, but also you get away, or you free yourself from unnecessary stress and other issues that you might be facing, such as frustration and irritation, for example. Okay, so it is important to practice every day. So do take this as a guide and learn how to meditate every day. So thank you for joining with us today. See you tomorrow at 7 o'clock again with our broadcast from the Mindfulness Meditation Center, with our regular daily with the Puja chanting and meditation on loving kindness. Have a very good evening, stay safe, take care, and good night.